I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you now. I'm doing good, bro. How are you? I got my keep it ready right now. My life, it's fabulous. It's you, my guy. I love it. I love it. Oh, it's completely different, bro. So, for the last 10 years, well, the last 15 years, I've been
Production. With the commish, Nate.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Welcome into Press Pass Live. Let me get my voice out of here. Let me make sure that I'm gonna have my guy's voice when we bring him in, because usually Nate accidentally leaves that muted. We don't want to leave that muted tonight. All right, welcome into Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL show. But tonight's a little bit of a twist. It is day 3 of our Madden release stream. The first 2 days were Thursday and Friday. Man, what a great time. We had our guy Andy with us. We had Pootie T with us. We had we had Shop with us. We had Expert with us. We had Brian with us. And I'm leaving somebody out, and I don't know why. It is what it is. We had a great time. It was an amazing 2 days, and it gave me a really quick insight to these guys who get on and stream every day for 8.5, 9 hours a day. It's like, yo, that takes some serious stamina. My stamina isn't quite there. I can train coaches for 8 hours a day, but even then, you get a couple minutes to take a break and a breather. These guys who just go all the way and go hard, I don't know how they do it. We are here tonight to talk about Madden 23, and we're going to wrap it up. We're going to close it up with our last guest tonight. Tomorrow, we'll be streaming all day long, at least as much of the day that we can. We're going to do our last giveaways tomorrow. We're going to do a PSN card, we're going to do an Xbox card, and we're going to do maybe a t-shirt or something. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. We're going to have 3 giveaways tomorrow. I was going to do some tonight, but the reason I'm not is we have a terrible storm rolling through right now. And if literally lightning hit 2 doors down right before I fired up. So if this all goes to crap tonight, I don't want to be in the middle of a giveaway. I just want to focus tonight on the main deal, and that is having, I think I had a bit of a stroke there. It's okay. My main deal is that's having my guy, Mostradamus, from League Crawler and all over the place. He's got to remind me the league that he plays in, but he's an amazing guy. Sometimes you get to meet some really cool people, and I've been lucky that over the last 2 streams on Thursday and Friday, some of the coolest people that I know in the community were nice enough to come on and hang out with me. And this is the best way to wrap it up. This is one of the coolest dudes. He's passionate about the game. He's passionate about creating content. And he's just a really good human being. And there's not enough good human beings in this community. Let me welcome in my guy, Mostradamus. Mo, how you doing tonight, my buddy?
I'm doing good, man, but you're way too nice when you talk about me.
No, it is all 100% true, and it is Madden season, man. I'm glad it's here.
I am too.
Let's talk about it. Let's just jump into the deep end. Rave reviews, except for my guy Expert. Expert said it's really good, but he had some things he was worried about. You kind of fall, if I remember correctly, you kind of fall more on the sim side than the competitive side. Jump in the deep end. Tell me, what are you thinking about Madden 23, man?
The on the field, I'm a big fan of. For those that know how I play, I run a community called SPA, Sim Players Association. Everything that we do is geared towards realistic football. So we run our games at 13 minutes, which we used to run them at 15. We would get too many plays, but our goal is to hit 130 plays a game, which is a realistic snap count for a real game, right? But we also have to tune things because if we just run everything on default most years, the games would be crazy high. It's just not built for what we do, right? So we have to do a lot of tampering to get kind of the things that we want. I'll say this, for this year, the only thing I think we're really going to have to look at is interception numbers seem really high. And tackling with their new in-game system, being able to break a lot of those tackling might need to go up a little bit just to make sure they're bringing guys down. Outside that, I think the game's playing really well.
Tell us some of your sliders. What are some of the settings that you guys are going with?
I don't know what we're going to do this year. What we did last year, and the game's completely different this year. So what happened last year isn't going to matter. But just so you guys get an understanding of what we do, we take quarterback accuracy down to 22. We take interceptions down to I think it was at 18 last year. We took offensive line play down to 0. We take
I don't think you're gonna have to do that this year.
No, we would take corners and or the way that they would play coverage up to 100. We would take play recognition to 100. Like we would do everything we could to make this gameplay as hard as humanly possible without it feeling overpowered in any certain way. And to be honest, it was tough. I don't think we even got to it last year. I think there was a lot of things that we weren't able to really get. I think the offensive line still played way too well. I'm really glad they have some pass rush, and I think the defense last year was poo. I think the way that people would guard tight ends was terrible. They were definitely overpowered. And corners, it felt like they weren't really playing coverage. It felt like they were just kind of like following people,
Yeah.
And this year it kind of feels like they're playing routes rather than just running behind a guy. So that's encouraging.
Some of the early testing that you're doing when you start talking about, hey, I think we may lean this way, may lean this way. Is this just, are we testing like some franchise stuff? Or are you just playing like lobby games online? What are we doing?
We've got some guys that are playing some of their preseason stuff games right now.
Okay.
What we'll typically do is we'll get started. Usually we use RFF sliders. For those of you that know what Operation Sports is, he's got some things going on over there. So we typically would use those. This year we're going to do something a little different. We're going to go with default because everybody's really enjoying what the gameplay's like. And we're just going to start adjusting on the fly. I think after 7 years now of adjusting sliders, at least I'm pretty confident in my own abilities to kind of really feel where the game is going and understand what things we can do to adjust. The things they do constantly adjust what we're able to do with sliders anyway. But I think we're going to get a pretty good feel of it and just kind of go with it ourselves this year and see what we come up with.
We're gonna reverse engineer this. Usually we talk about what did we do right, and then we go back to what did we do wrong. Let's go the other way. Is the game in your early playing and the early feedback from the community? Where's the game going wrong?
The game is going wrong. I'm not a fan of the smashing the A button to get out of tackles.
Yeah.
I understand why they did that. For a lot of the games that people play out there's mini games that come along with all these games you play. You know what I mean? Like when people like Fortnite, they like Fortnite because they can run around and they can shoot things, but they can also build. There's so much going on, and I think EA is trying to tap into that a little bit and make the in-game game more fun. But I did be truthfully honest, I just think it's really stupid. So you got that one. I other than that, bro, there's not really a lot I don't like. I never like how many interceptions the DBs get. Like when you play this game and you watch a game on Sunday, the biggest difference to me is how many clear-cut opportunities DBs have at like uncontested balls. Like that's just really not a thing in the NFL. Quarterbacks are so good that they're really good at putting the ball in places where like no one can get it, or like where their receiver can get it. And occasionally you see like the really dumb plays like once or twice a game where the DB's like right there and it's like, oh, it's there, But in Madden, it seems like that happens way more often. And that's partially on user error, but it's very frustrating for me that you see so many like interceptions, especially for like these long games. Because the NFL record, if anybody doesn't know, was set in 1952 by Dick Night Train Lane, and it's 14 interceptions. That has never been broken, even as they've added more games to the league. Because back then they weren't playing 17 games. I think they were playing 14 games, and that record's still never been broken. Trayvon Diggs just got 11, last year or 2 years ago? So that's something that always bothers me.
How many times do y'all break that record?
Oh, every year, bro. Every single year. But last year, I'll say this. Last year, because we put interceptions down to 18, I think the most we got was like 17. And my thing is, if you're playing 17 games, I don't think it's that crazy, I'm actually surprised that record's never been broken. That, to me, is a trip.
Yeah, it's one of those crazy old records that are there. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you. What other areas concern you? What are the things, especially as a commissioner, even if there are some things in the franchise, what are some other things that might concern you?
There's a lot of glitches going on right now in franchise mode. A lot. The servers it doesn't seem like they're saving edits, or it doesn't seem like they're saving moves that are made. So a lot of people are dealing with they'll make a trade and everything will start glitching out, right? But we did that today. I made a trade. We sent it through. I made the edit on the guy that I traded for, backed out of the league, came back in the league, and he was back on the other team, and we had to redo the trade.
Oh, gross.
Now,
I haven't heard that one.
Now, since we've redone the trade, he's still on my team, so it seems like it caught the second time. But the servers have to keep saving that data, and it seems like they're not saving as often as they should be. So that's likely going to result in some things we don't typically like. The other thing is I've already seen the glitch where we've got a user that on his game he's on the Colts, and in our game the Colts are open. So we may even have to like restart tonight or something.
Where are we getting it right? Franchise and with gameplay.
Where are we getting it right? I love the way I love the way defenders are playing defense. I think that they're actually playing areas and they're playing towards balls and towards routes rather than just like running. Like I said, they were just like running. I felt like last year they were just like chasing people, you know, and you had to have a lot of speed to like catch guys, or you had to have good angles to make sure you get them out of bounds. I just didn't really feel like coverage was that good, and it was really apparent on like tight ends that would do like crossing routes because the linebacker would sit there, he'd watch the guy cross, and then he would just like run after him. And I thought, this is so stupid. Like, you can't play everybody. Like, these guys have to play well on their own. And I think this year we're seeing players play well on their own, and that to me is a huge positive because defense has to get better. I really
especially with games as long as y'all's. If the defense is bad, I mean, the scores are just going to balloon.
Yeah, bro, we hit like 40s all the time for both teams. It's sick. I hate it. I like 14, 21 games, you know, and it's rare that we see those. The other thing I really like is I like that they're being innovative. Now, I don't necessarily like all the things that they did. I wish they would be a little bit more secretive when it comes to free agency. I pretty much like it where nobody knows anything and you put your bids in.
Yeah, and just like a full blind bid system.
Yeah, full. That's what I would prefer. Now, this year they added, so like I think it's like the first round you get like 3 or 5 or something where you can bid on just a certain number of players. And I don't think they show you what the bids are. I think it just shows you like the top 3 teams or something. So they're working their way to what I would want it to be. But at the same time, I'm not going to hate on people being innovative. Like I would hate if they did nothing, you know. At least this is them doing something. I can dig that, you know. Let's work with this and let's go from here. And if this year we're like, hey, we could get it a little bit more, let's just have the conversation and be cordial about it. Let's see what happens, you know. I've always had a great relationship with EA when it comes to being cordial with stuff. So that's just kind of how I attack it, and things seem to happen the way that I hope they happen. But yeah, that would probably be the one. I really like that kind of stuff.
Such a unique experience that you guys are going with such long games. It's kind of the thought process, like why did that go that's pretty opposite of most leagues. Why was that the direction that you guys went?
We were all so when the Xbox first came out with like these online leagues for not this console but the previous console, I had never been in a league before. I got the Cardinals. I was playing like a head-to-head, and I played a dude named Tom Bishop, who was just starting a league called MDFL. And MDFL was supposedly like the most sim experience you could possibly have. Everything we did was geared towards sim to a point. Like, and I love Tom. This is not me talking shit. Like, I would call that dude today. I think he's an amazing, amazing individual. He was an amazing commissioner. Most of what I learned from Tom. But he will also admit this. He was a little overbearing at times. Like, you would like be like, hey, I'm going to start this guy instead of this guy. And he'd be like, but why? The Cardinals would never do that. Like, they're really investing in him. And I just, but it's like my team. So he was really into, let's have the most realistic experience possible, which gave me the drive to have a realistic experience. So when that finally shut down for the last time and we ended up creating SPA, the goal was to provide the most realistic experience possible. Like, everybody uses the word sim, that we all try to have like a sim league, right? But like, let's be honest, Nate, that word means absolutely nothing. You know, it doesn't mean anything. So we all have our own interpretations. So my belief was, and the belief that we originally had as a group, because we have, how our league works is I'm a commissioner, right? But I actually have zero power. Unless we have 8 division reps, so each division has its own representative. Those 8 division reps are the ones that vote on everything that we do. They vote on all of our rules, and everything that touches SPA is what they want it to be. Now, if they ever tie, I get a vote and I get the tie-breaking vote. But typically, they never tie. They come up with a system that works because our belief is one person's never going to define this word of sim. But if you take a group together, they can come up with a really true definition where people are now starting to agree on something. You know, and I think that's a huge step. But with that comes our play count. For us to be realistic and provide the most realistic experience and try to have this sim, to us, that starts with the snap count. If you don't have a realistic snap count, all of the stats and stuff, you might as well go back to 6-minute quarters and play really short, because what are you really doing?
Right.
The only way to have something like really real is base it your North Star on how many snaps you play, and then you work your way back from there. And for a lot of years, we really struggled with like 40 sacks a season for somebody. Like there was one, it was bad. But we made really good connections with EA. We got in the ears of the people we felt like we needed to get into. We started being able to send emails in every year with things we wanted touched. And I believe those things were really looked at, because a lot of that stuff is now a part of the game. I don't think it was just us that wanted it, but I think it was a community thing, and we were heard. And so that's just always been our goal the last 7 years, is to try to provide. EA says they're going to be sim. We're going to hold them to that. We're going to try to make this gameplay as realistic as possible, and then we're going to give them the feedback.
I can't even get my creator application looked at. Jesus, I don't know how you guys do it. Literally, my application's been sitting there pending for like 8 months.
Well, this is why I got into a sales job, Nate.
Yeah, I know. I guess that's why I suck at it. No one listens to me. This is like a multi-part question, so I'll take it in like layers. How long are the games that you guys play with those longer quarters, like physical time?
About anywhere from an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half.
Okay. Is that like Excel clock, or is that just straight up?
No, we take Excel clock all the way down to 13 seconds. So like when you get up there, you get to make like 4 audibles, and that's it. By the time you're done with that, it's go time, because you're at 1 second.
How do you keep scores and stats from ballooning with that long of a time period to play?
Dude, I could sit here and tell you that it's the rules that we have, or it's the sliders that we use. I could go through all of that, but it's really not. All right, for any commissioner out there, this will go for any of your visions. The reason that it works for us in the way that it works, because sometimes we do have balloon games. Like, I'm not going to bullshit you. Like, there's games that like we see like 60 scores, or somebody's getting like 60 points, like, and it's disgusting, 70 points, like, it's disgusting. But most of our games look pretty realistic because the users we have want that type of experience.
Yeah.
So it really falls back on the people that join our community and join the leagues. They're looking for something unique. They're looking to do their part. And when 2 users play a game looking to have the same kind of experience, they typically have that type of experience. So it falls back on the users.
Is this all Madden, all pro?
All Madden.
Okay, so all Madden, sim, that longer quarters, and just it's a good experience overall.
Yeah.
Ooh, good kick catch.
Yeah, you come to my games, man. I have a great time.
What are we looking forward to? The game's dropped. There's clearly some glitches that we have not experienced yet, but it's good to hear about those glitches, because I felt like the game was pretty close to, like, if you wanted to, you could fire up your league tonight and start playing. You don't have to wait for some kind of like September patch like we normally, but it sounds like we may need to wait for a patch. What are we looking forward to as a community, though, the most? With the game, with the field sense, those things?
Well, before you get there, I'm going to piggyback on what you just said, because I actually believe you could start the league tonight. There are a couple things that need to be patched. But I don't think there's going to be any kind of patch this year that's going to be so drastic, like, now you got to restart everything.
Yeah, I got you.
The one concern I have, and I haven't reached out to anybody about this yet, was there's not any of the new helmets. Like all of the league has them. I don't know yet if those
is that going to be a restart
able to be imported into that
right.
or not. That is one of my concerns. So that is one that we'll see. But outside that, the things that we're kind of running into right now, I don't necessarily think they're that big of a deal. I think once they get the servers working correctly, that's not like a patch that's like, well, now we got to restart the league, because now the servers aren't saving every 5 minutes. Now they're saving every like second, like they're supposed to be. I think that it'll just work better, So I don't necessarily think that's something you have to hold off for.
All this reaching out, you need to reach out and tell them to look at the world's longest online CFM's application. I mean, at least tell me no, but God, tell me something over here.
I'll do some reaching out after this. I'll see if we can get that thing moving at all.
Mo, man, what do you as an individual kind of owner, what do you think the new things are going to do to your gameplay or to your game? Like, are there some things that excite you as like just an individual owner when it comes to the gameplay?
The things that excite me when it comes to the gameplay really is on just the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
I'm a defensive guy. You know, I played wide receiver when I played, but I like low scoring games. I like seeing guys attack the football. I don't like watching being the linebacker and running right past somebody and being like, why
Yeah.
did my guy not even try to make that tackle? Like, I get that I didn't line it up perfectly, but that doesn't mean he should be within like a foot of somebody and they just run right by each other. Like, I forgot how to football, you know, like
Yep.
at least try to slow the guy down and miss, you know, like something. So I'm really impressed with how the defense is playing. I like that it doesn't seem like escape artist is a thing anymore. When we played with the beta, I really thought the fast, because I'm a Cardinals fan, for anybody who doesn't know. I really thought Kyler was super slow. I did not enjoy the experience on the beta, but I will say that right now it does feel like he's a little bit faster. I don't need him to have escape artist like what he had last year, but I do feel like it's important to be able to move in a way that's realistic to who he is as a player. So I'm encouraged with that as well.
I was watching your cards tonight. I forgot. Yeah, your cards are playing right now, and you still gave some time to come here. You got the game on the side in the background. What's going on?
No, bro, I'm hanging with you. I was watching it before we got on. And then you messaged me like 5 minutes before, and you're like, hey, I'm waiting. I was like, hey, this is what I was waiting on. I'm coming right now.
I don't know how you feel, but I like watching bad football. Bad football is just the best kind of football to watch.
Yeah, I like
get my stuff pushed in right now. I do too.
I'll watch anything.
Early kind of things that you've enjoyed just playing around. Have you played like just a lot of guys in your league, lobby? What are we playing, and what are some of the things that you've enjoyed about? Are you your Cardinals? Do you guys do a team draft? I guess I'm asking a bunch of questions here, but Cardinals team draft. What are you?
We did our team draft about a month ago.
Okay.
I'm always going to be the Cardinals. If these guys want me to keep showing up to do the job that I do, I'm going to have to be the Cardinals, because if I'm not Arizona, I'm going to fall. Like, I just have no desire to do it. You know, like I don't care who's in the helmet. I could be the Cardinals and we could do a fantasy draft. I could care less who's in the helmet, but I have to have that stupid little red bird on my helmet. I don't know why that is, but that's how my team allegiance feels.
No,
you know?
I totally get it.
So yeah, we do our team draft about a month before the game comes out. That gives guys like a really like solid time to figure out what they want to do, come up with plans. But so far, what I've been playing, I've been playing Mutt. Don't anybody out there hate me. Like I don't like playing.
I know a lot of guys
Mutt.
that like Mutt. I get it.
Yeah, I don't like playing other people in Mutt because it's really a cheese fest. I don't like to go do all that, right? But I really like collecting the Cardinals cards, creating my Cardinals theme team. I like their challenges. I know they're not for everybody, but I enjoy the challenges and stuff. So I go in there and play the computer with like my squad. I get excited when they put like legends out. Like Jake Plummer's my favorite quarterback of all time. Last year, he ended up doing my intro to my channel. I'm probably going to have him do the intro to my channel again this year. But I got to play with Jake Plummer for like 3 months last year because he was one of the cards released. So I really enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, we've been playing some head-to-head, and then I've got one of the guys that I can play with for my preseason game because we're already at preseason week 1. So I might load that up here.
What are you enjoying about your Cardinals for a Madden sense?
I enjoy taking over because I don't like what Steve Keim typically does. He's my GM in real life. So my favorite thing is doing the franchise thing and like going straight from scratch. So today I made my first big trade of the year. The defense is getting old. I don't really have a lot of core pieces for the Cardinals, to be truthfully honest with you, right? Like I got Kyler Murray, I got Hollywood Brown that I want to re-sign. DeAndre Hopkins I'll probably keep for a few years. Simmons will need re-sign. Buda Baker sign, but outside that, it's like J.J. Watt and a bunch of older players. So I have the funds to kind of get some core pieces if I want to pay them. And the Bills user didn't want to pay Tremaine Edmonds, so I made the trade for him, and him and Isaiah Simmons will play next to each other. So I really like that duo. And then it allows me to move Zaven Collins outside.
Give me some real life predictions. What's going to be with your Cardinals this year? Oh, wait, first, did they let Kyler call plays in the third? Because it was like supposed to be Kyler's turn after I stopped watching it. Did he get to call plays?
Yeah, he called plays the entire second half.
I think that's kind of cool.
Is really good for him.
Yeah, I think that's just cool all around. Not only just from practice as a quarterback, understanding how things flow better, but just like, what a neat experience, period, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It was really cool.
Give me some predictions for your Cardinals.
What I really like about like what they do with him is my biggest complaint with Cliff Kingsbury is I don't necessarily get the sense that Kyler ever really wants to play for him. Kyler is a very interesting person. For those that don't know, I actually played with Kyler for a when we were doing Pros vs. Schmoes, the league. We played with Kyler, Hollywood Brown, Cody Ford, Trey Sermon. There was like
it's kind of cool that he's on your team now.
Right, yeah, it is. But we ended up playing with those guys in a league for a few seasons, which was a fun experience. But Kyler's somebody that if he doesn't respect you, it's a very rocky type of relationship with the way that he likes to talk, you know, because I'm just not a big fan of that. So like when it comes to Cliff, let's look at the history, right? Cliff wanted him at Texas Tech. Kyler turns him down. Kyler ends up going to a school. Cliff tries to get him to transfer. Kyler doesn't transfer to there. He ends up going to Oklahoma. So Cliff keeps trying to get this kid to come play with him, and Kyler each step of the way goes, I don't want to do that, you know? Cliff then gets hired by the Cardinals, gets the number 1 pick. He's like, I'm going to draft Kyler Murray, gets Kyler in the building. At this point, you kind of got to give the kid everything you want to have that relationship because he's been telling you no this entire time, and now you're forcing him to come here. So I just never have ever gotten the sense that Cliff knows how to hold him accountable in a way that's going to force him to get better. And I think the rest of the it's not really the world because the world doesn't watch American football, but I think the rest of America is starting to see those kind of things, you know, because he's never been held accountable here in Arizona, and that's one of the reasons the contract thing was coming into play. But here's where I'll give Cliff credit. I've never liked how he's coached him. I've always wanted to be harder on him and really coach him hard. But then this year he's like, you know what? If Kyler wants to see what it's like to call plays, and that's a way to engage him into it, let's get him to do that. And Kyler's totally engaged with this, and I think it's beneficial for him. So you know what, Cliff, kudos to you, man. If you're watching this, kudos to you, my guy.
No one watches this, so there's no way that he is watching this, but it's okay.
He might be. You don't know.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Bro. I got a lot of ends.
Hey,
I called him before he went.
Clearly, I believe that. Madden overall, if you had to give it a grade today, what are you grading it?
I will give it a grade based on other releases that they put out. I won't give it a grade against like a game that went like 7 months in. You know, I would give this a solid B+. I think they did really, really well. I think they still have little things that they've got to work on. But in retrospective, I would have given last year's like a C. Maybe like a C-. I really thought they screwed the pooch on that, especially when they told us that they were going to have to wait. They really messed that up.
Yeah.
So this year,
where can it go? If you're giving it a B+ today, where can it go and how can it get? What do they need to do to get it there?
They need to stop being innovative for right now, and they need to just get the kinks out. That's it.
Yeah.
Really, really grind out and get the kinks out. If they can do that, this is going to be a really fun game to play.
Have fun. Like, where can this go? Like, what's the potential for this game if those kinks are worked out?
Oh, I think it could be one of the best Maddens yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely stacks up. And look, they made a hell of a statement when they said this was going to be the most polished game in years. And I think it holds up to that. Yeah, it's not perfect and it needs work, but I think it definitely holds up to being the most polished Madden ever. Trey, I don't know how I didn't make that play on you just now. But anyway, I'm excited about the potential that it brings for leagues. I think the gameplay, like that's the base, right? It's got to start with gameplay. Owners are not going to stay engaged if the gameplay sucks. And I think overall the gameplay is very improved. Field sense changes a lot of things, right? And I think if owners are engaged, then you're going to have that longevity as a league. And then they added in a couple of bells and whistles, right? Little supposedly improved draft logic. I think that's still TBD. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But free agency's definitely got some new layers to it that make it at least more interesting. It's not the completely blind free agency I think all of us would like to have. But there's definitely some steps and enough in it to keep you engaged. So you mix gameplay with those franchise improvements. And I think it has the potential to keep, just owners really engaged for the longevity of a cycle, which a lot of us do, right? A lot of us are aiming for that 9 to 12 month type of cycle. Like we play this game for a long, long time. And that takes a really good game to do that, or people are going to be pretty burnt out pretty quickly on it. I'm getting my stuff pushed in right now. I can't play and talk, though, so the play is just so that people have something to stare at that ain't my ugly face right now. What are your hopes for the cycle, man? You're one of the... I'm assuming you are. I think you are. I don't know what they call y'all anymore. Even Shop was on with me on Fridays. Like, I don't even remember what they call us anymore, but you're on the inside circle. You're one of the people that they listen to. Clearly, man, there was some effort. And whether or not that effort is because of NCAA, because of 2K dropping some type of game, competition always brings the best out of people. What's your hopes for the series as a whole?
I guess I look at it more than just being, they did it this year. I think last year, everybody that asked me last year, hey, what's going on with franchise mode? How do you feel about it? It's got so many kinks and issues. I kept telling everybody. Franchise mode to me last year was like a fast food restaurant that was under construction. Like you couldn't go sit down and eat anywhere, but you could go through the drive-thru. You could order there, but you probably should expect dusty food. Like you're the one that's going through the drive-thru. So you can't be mad if that's what happens. You're the idiot that bought the game. You know what I mean? And they put out their one patch where they remember how they said they're like, we're going to do 3 big patches, right? And they were like, we're going to do our first big patch, but you're going to end up having to restart franchise mode because it's pretty massive. And everyone was like, oh my God, we're going to have to wait till like September. What the heck? Like FEA, they're so dumb, right? But everyone waited, and then they were disappointed with the patch, right? Well, if I'm EA and I know I've got 3 big patches planned for this year, but these might end up really breaking franchise mode and making guys restart, and you all freaked the hell out in September when you were going to have an entire year still to play before the next game came out, there's no way in hell I'm going to put out more patches.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, they promised 3 patches. They didn't give us the 3 patches that they promised. Well, yeah, because you would have strung them by their nuts if it would restart your franchise mode halfway through the year. I would have done the same thing. I'd have been pissed, So I completely understand why EA did it the way that they did it. And I know that it upset a lot of people, but like, whatever, I would have done the same thing. So when you look at that, though, they still did all the work, even though they didn't release the patch. It's not like they just were like, you know what, we're not going to release the patches, so we're just going to sit on our thumb and we're just not going to do anything for 9 months. They didn't. They worked their butts off. And now you get to see all of the work that they did, and they're like, it's the most refined one ever. It's because they didn't put in all of the stuff they did last year midway through the year. So I look at this as a much longer term process than, they finally released a good game. They've put a lot of time and effort into this.
Yeah.
And if they do the same thing next year, we should have a much more polished game next year. I don't expect a lot of huge patches this year.
Madden 23's here. You guys are already neck deep. Preseason week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, is the energy up? Is the excitement there? Do people feel like, man, this is there? Is there still some hesitation? Where are you kind of seeing some of your owners?
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
So SPA has 2 leagues now. So we've had Legacy, which we've done every single year. It used to just be SPA. It used to not be called Legacy. But we did a second league a few years ago when we were transitioning to the new Madden. And we called it Infinity. We wanted to see how the next gen Xbox and stuff was working and the league. So we started Infinity on next gen. We still kept Legacy going. Then we went back to 1 league last year while everyone transitioned all the way up. So the Legacy still had its core members, and a lot of those other people ended up just going to the wait list and waiting. But then last year, within like 3 or 4 months, that wait list grew to be like 20 something people So we started up Infinity again. So this year Infinity's going. I'm playing in Infinity. I decided as the original commissioner from Legacy, the only way that a second league will ever not feel like a B league is if it's got like absolutely shown true love. You know, if you want two fully functional leagues, you got to give people two fully functional leagues. And for me as the commissioner, that meant I believe that Legacy could go on without me. They have a humongous core of people. They've got some incredible leadership over there. Like I said, the reps run everything, and the commissioners just kind of like the extra vote if they need one. So it was easy for me to kind of step away. The other commissioners stepped up, and I went over to Infinity to start something else, and it feels like two fully functional leagues. But with that, for this year, there's going to be people out there, and I love all of them, but there's going to be people out there that just aren't as hyped as what your core members are, but it's just because it's so new. So we got to keep building that core.
Yeah, I think there's also just some like, paying for the sins of your father's father. Like, it's like, okay, guys, I get it that you didn't like last year or whatever. Like this, I have never and will never support pitchfork and torches to go burn people's houses down. It's just not my vibe. I think it's a really good game and has the potential to be top 3 of all time. I think it's right there, and there's just some minor tweaks that need to be made. So I'm excited to see exactly where it's going to go. You make a ton of content, man. What's on the books for content this year? Not only Madden, but just period. New job, I know maybe has squashed that just a little bit, but what are we thinking about content?
It's actually squashed it a lot, my guy. I went from streaming every single night for like 3 to 4 hours, and then doing League Crawler live, and like I got to give a huge shout out to Matt. For those that don't know, I used to do the voice of League Crawler live. Matt, the owner of that, was looking for somebody. We formed an amazing friendship. I love that dude to death. But I was not going to be able to do it once I started my new job, and he was at the point where he's like, I'm just kind of burnt on it too. So he ended up transferring it over to Knives Out, who I think is just an incredible human being. I think he's going to do some really, really cool things. He's got some great ideas. And hopefully one day I'm able to kind of jump back on it, because I really like doing those interviews. I like interacting with everybody. It's something that's really fun for me. But like I told you, man, I got a new job, and with this new job, I really feel like for my family, it's got to get the best effort out of me. So that's where everything's going. And I just started it a few months ago. I'm probably going to give it like 6 months before I really start doing anything content wise, where I feel like I'm comfortable with what the job is and making sure I get all my stuff done before I start getting into like extras. So this is probably not a year I'm going to put a lot of time and effort into the content department, just because my family needs me to do something different.
Where are you going to be streaming your games? Tell people where they can at least go watch you stream your games.
Oh, you guys can go over to twitch.tv/Mostradamus. I'll be over there. Got some really fun stuff. We do some fun giveaways. The cool thing about making more money at this new job is I can do some cool stuff on the channel, So like when we do stream, you'll want to be there, because we'll do some really cool stuff. But yeah, go over to Mostradamus. I'll be doing my games. We'll be doing some live shows for the SPA community. I'm going to do MSR. I'm not playing in MSR. I decided to back out of their main league. I'm going to go play in Genesis. Really excited about that. But for like MSR, you got to be 100% dialed in. Like they deserve that kind of commitment, because the other 31 users are giving that. And I just couldn't promise that to Timbo. I wish I could have this year, but I couldn't promise that. But I did tell him, get me over to Genesis. Let me feel comfortable like with how I'm able to commit my time. And then if the time ever comes I can join back up, I'll join back up.
Timbo's my dude.
Love him.
He was with us on Thursday, and we just had a really good time talking about the game.
Yeah, one of my favorite people in the community.
Yeah, just a good dude. God, this line's pressure's all over me. Give me some final thoughts as we wrap it up. Thank you very much. I want to
talk about like you. How's
the
MFL going?
Good. Things are good. Trying to fill up the second league, like you guys, and like you said about your second league, it takes effort and energy to make it not feel like a B league, a AAA team, and give it its own look and feel. Right. And we're really blessed with just some good humans that help me not only run the community, but also run the OMFL and help in the Deuce, including the commissioner who's over there. And so we're just trying to fill that up, trying to get people to come and check us out and give the Deuce an opportunity. And I think one of the carrots is that we pull up to the OMFL when a spot does come open from the Deuce. And so if you ever want an opportunity to play in the world's longest online CFM experience, then that's where you got to go. You got to start there. And we don't just call up by, record or any of that. It's like full blow. Like, how's your activity? Are you involved in the chats? How's your gameplay? Are there extras that would really add to what the OMFL does? And that's how we offer the spots. So yeah, we're just trying to fill up those last spots. But overall, the OMFL, like you, it's a small mixed bag of comments or perspectives. I think some people are still like, you got to show me, and one day after release is not enough to show me.
Right.
Who the hell is that freaking Trey? That dude's been running me over all night. So I think some guys are skeptical. Look, there's always a handful of guys who are just, it doesn't matter if the Lord and Savior baby Jesus created the game, they're going to find something to complain about. It's just like, come on, man. Like, let's not nitpick this thing to death. But I think overall, people are pretty excited. We took a little bit longer of a break this Madden. Usually we play 6 seasons, which usually ends in like early to mid-July. So we have a 3 to 4 week break depending on when the new Madden drops. And so people have a little bit of a break just to, enjoy the summer without the pressure of games every 48 hours or whatever. This year we ended in late May, early June. We only played 5 seasons just because of a variety of reasons. Look, the game last year really was tough to get through. And I think every league kind of has those moments as well. But we had a group of guys who didn't like how my breath smelled, and so decided to leave and take 3 or 4 people with them. And that just kind of causes some like, hey, wait, what's going on? Why'd this happen? And so that happened in like season 4. So we got through season 4, season 5, and then it's just COVID, right? COVID. People just want to be outside and be with family and move around a bit more. And so because of that longer break, boy, I gave you the most preacher answer ever to get to that final destination. But the reason that longer break has hindered things, it's just like, okay, hey, we're back now. New games drop. Need you to plug back in. Like, we're rolling. Let's get going. So we're kind of in that stage right now where it's just like waking everybody up. But I think as people get their hands on the game and begin to play it, man, they're really, really going to enjoy it. I love creating content. I love, like, it's a skill for me to develop. You're the outgoing life of the party. Everybody wants to talk to you. His words, not mine. Everyone likes me.
They do.
Nate is not that way. I am an introvert. I was invited to a housewarming party today to a friend, and I use that term slightly loosely, more of an acquaintance, but as a neighbor who got his own place, invited me over to his housewarming party because he's a super sports guy, and was redoing a game room that he has. Anyway, boy, I keep giving you the long answers. I show up, there's like 25 people in the house. I don't know anybody, so I just like sat in the corner. I'm like, I'm not going to talk to anybody. So anyway, I say that to say my job, my spiritual profession, and streaming has caused me over the last 15 years to get better at this. So I view it really as a skill that I'm constantly working on to get better. And I just love like creating streams, and like I watch a lot of, I don't watch a lot of Madden streams, but I watch a lot of streaming just from a perspective of like, what are people doing? Like, what are people, like when I watch TV, this has really changed the way I watch TV, because I'm watching from the perspective of like, all right, in that world, what are they doing to keep your attention? When they advertise, how are they advertising their next season or their next show? What are they doing in that world that connects with the world that I'm in? And so I'm constantly, the honest truth, Mo, and because we've kind of done a few things together, is like, 90% of Madden streamers out there are so boring.
Yes.
Their streams are like, there's no effort. It's a square box in the corner with no other cool transitions or gifts over the top. Good Game Bro has really inspired me. I don't know him. I'd love to get to talk to him and know him better. I don't know if you do, because I know he's part of that Madden community, but he just does some super cool, fun, engaging stuff, and it's changed or inspired me in a lot of ways about how I stream. So it's a new Madden, right? So I put in a lot of work. I've still got some more work that's coming. Just trying to like do things that engage people, so that, you know, whether it's a league member who's 90% of my audience who logs in, I want them to like be proud of what they're watching and like be engaged with what they're watching, or whether it's somebody brand new who's just checking us out and wants to learn more about who we are and what we do. Well, I am totally not paying attention, Trey. I'm excited about that. So I'm ready to get rolling again, so I can start bringing out some of the new stuff and seeing how people engage with it. Somebody asked me on Thursday, what are my pros and cons of the game? I'm having a hard time coming up with cons.
Same.
I think the offensive line blocking still needs some help. Still, it's not as much as last Madden or the last couple of Maddens, but there's still some times where the fullback hits a hole, there's a linebacker in the hole, and the guy runs away from the linebacker to block nobody 15 yards down the field, and I get hit 3 yards deep in the end zone. I'm just like, what's going on here? I still think like a mediocre defensive lineman can beat a top tier offensive lineman. And I wish there was a little more balance in that. And I'm totally glad that pass rush is back. Totally glad that's a game changer for gameplay, where quarterbacks can't sit back there, you know, and have 18 minutes to decide where they're going with the ball.
Right.
But with that said, you know, my Saints have one of the better offensive lines in the league, and Ryan Ramczyk is a stud all-pro, and I've watched him get beat by, 72 overall defensive ends for 4 sacks a game. It's just like, what's going on here? So I wish offensive line play was a little better, and I hope that gets maybe tweaked a little bit. But outside of that, man, it feels really good. I feel like we found our slider set almost immediately. We looked at a few things that were out there early, but also used some of the stuff that we had last year, and I think we're almost pretty settled on a slider set right now. So I'm ready to get playing and get going and start having some fun. Especially since the last season I was in OMFL Bowl 101 and I lost. So I feel like I got to try to make my way back and get me another ship on the old shelf. That's not the word I was trying to find, but that's the only word that came to mind.
It's a good word. Did you know that I was like a day away from messaging you and telling you to find me a spot in OMFL? You
should have. Do you have a PlayStation?
I don't. That was the thing that stopped me.
Yeah, so I'd love to have somebody like you, man. You're just a good human, and I would say that when you're not around. If you watch any of the old content, you're just a good dude. And listen, this community, it is like most online communities. It's a weird freaking place sometimes, and people breathe on negativity. The fact is that like a lot of the reason why people watch these big streamers like a Dr. Disrespect is like he's angry all the time. He's ranting about stuff. Like people are drawn to negativity, and I just like I'm not that, and I hate that part of our community. And so getting to do some content through League Crawler. I'm a massive Matt fan. I'm going to miss him. I was lucky enough that I was one of the people that he offered League Crawler to, but I knew I too was not going to be able to do for it its legacy that it needs to be. And to be honest with you, Mo, and you can ask him if this wasn't said, I was like, I'm not the first guy. Mo's the guy. Like if Mo tells you no, then you come talk to me. And so I just, that's how much respect I have for you and the content that you created. And I was lucky enough to be a part of that. I'm going to miss that guy. And he said he's going to still hang around. But anyway, there's not enough good people like you. Timbo, Expert. Again, I don't know Good Game Bro, which I don't even know his real name. I just know his tag. But he puts out like that vibe of just good energy and like a good human. And I think this community just needs more of that. And so, like the fact that you're taking time away from your family right now and you got to go to work tomorrow and all that stuff and spending time with me talking some Madden, just I'll never take that for granted. And I'm blessed to have, grown folks started from the LMFL. And the reason the LMFL is what it is because we have amazing humans who have made the culture what it is. And then I work really, really hard to make it a cool place. And I try to outwork everybody just from the sake of like, people are giving their time here and people have given their money here. And I want to support that by, giving them the hardest working commissioner I know to be. So anyway, I say all that to say, I have loved getting to know you. I consider you a friend. You know how I am. I'll text you sometimes just to say, how are you? How's life? How's the family? And so just the fact that you and Timbo and Expert and Shop, and I told Shop this, like, that dude don't owe me nothing at all. He's one of the bigger streamers in the Madden community out there. And yet he took time to come be on the show. And I that meant a lot to me. So I just hope we can find more ways to do stuff, because if Madden's good and the community as a whole is engaged, then it leads to better content. And when there's better content, there's more eyes on the good people in the community. There's more eyes on the good content that's getting created out there. So I've got high hopes for Madden 23.
Okay, so changing the subject a little bit. So I used to watch all of your videos when it was like that weren't the grown folk stuff. You were doing a lot of like I don't want to call them like sermons or anything, but
there were sermons. Yeah, that's my church that we pastor.
Like absolutely amazing. But then they stopped showing up on my YouTube, and I don't know why. Are you still doing those?
Oh yeah. Every week we post 1 to 2 a week, and
what's the
YouTube? It's called Home Church 217, and every week I try to post at least 2. At least 1 comes out on Sundays. The honest truth, the easiest way not only is to for YouTube, but also our app. We have an app, and so the app has all the new content that comes out every single week. I appreciate that, man. There's been a lot of times where I'm like, "What are you doing, bro? This is a waste of time and energy." But I push through those moments, and we get through it, and it's been another piece of my life that I've enjoyed. Just trying to learn how to do better and learn how to connect with people to help them on their spiritual walk.
They're incredible. And for anybody that has never gone there, do you care if I put out the URL real quick?
No, man, I appreciate that.
YouTube.com/user/OMFL Nate. I mean, like for anybody out there just needs like some little uplifting moments. I don't go to church, Nate, like at all. Like I'm not a big believer in what church has become for a lot of people out there.
Me either.
So being able to watch what you do on YouTube, I have a great relationship with Christ, but it helps fulfill me. So I'm glad to be able to get back to that channel, because I think you do some incredible stuff over there, bro.
Thank you, man. We got to get the name changed, but I can't till I get to 100 subscriptions, and it's still pretty new. So we're still working our way up to 100, and then I can actually change the name to that thing. That's my like old YouTube channel, and I was like, oh crud, I hate that it's got this name. But yeah, we do. My wife and I was a student pastor at fairly normal small town church for many years. And I loved it. It was my dream job. I literally got to wake up every day and do my dream job. I left a job making, this was 20 years ago, $2,000 a month for me. Base salary that was like a lot of money. And so I left a job making $100,000 a year to make $400 a week for a little small church. And it was my dream job, and I loved doing it. And we took over like a group of 12 kids. And when we left, we had over 100 kids. They came every single week. I was in 3 different high schools, just doing little clubs and Bible studies and just like hanging out with kids, and just was an awesome time. And we left that to come to New Orleans and be a part of something brand new. And so ever since that, we've been on a journey here. We came here with nowhere to live. I didn't have a job, and we just figured it out. Literally the weekend my wife and kids were moving here, I had already lived here for a month, and we didn't have a place to live. We just kind of figured it out as we went. And it was a great time, and it's been a great time. But because of that, you know, I'm a lot like you. I don't enjoy what the kind of American church stands for. And so we started home church during COVID, which is probably not the smartest idea in the whole wide world, but we meet here in our home. Like the name means what we are. We meet in homes. We have a meal, and we sit around the table. We talk. We just eat, enjoy each other's company, get to know people. And then we sit and have a little worship together. And then we break open the word and we just kind of talk about it. And we've had some fun conversations, some interesting conversations, and it's led to a lot of really cool things. So it's just a great way to intimately meet people where they are in their walk with Christ and help them figure out, you know, what's next for that. Because I'm a big believer, if people never come to that place where they are a believer in Christ or Jesus or any of that stuff, I believe the principles are the principles and they work. And if there is no heaven and there is no hell, and I'm completely wrong, and when you die, you just evaporate into the ethos or come back as a cat or dandelion, this is still the best marriage I could have, the best way for me to handle my finances, the best way for me to be a professional, best way for me to be a father, a friend, a husband, still the best, healthiest life to live. And so, we just want to come alongside of people and support them where they are and help them figure out what's next for their lives. So I appreciate that, man. Thanks for bringing it up. Most people, they don't go there. I don't get to talk about it all that much.
No, you are phenomenal with you. In fact, to be truthfully honest with you, like your sermons and stuff are great, right? But where I think you're going to have a distinct advantage in the future is we are entering like legit the digital age. Like COVID, we were entering the digital age before COVID, but COVID definitely fast forwarded that by like 15, 20 years. Like everything that you do now is online. You know what I mean? And I think in the next 15, 20, 30 years, you're going to see a lot of the people that are going to church is an older community at this point. And I think you're going to see a younger community kind of transfer to an online thing where it's a lot like Twitch, where you can like subscribe and you can do different things, and that can be your tithing. And with what you know how to do electronically and with all of the stuff you do behind the scenes with this kind of thing, bro, you are set up for absolute success when that turn finally kind of starts going. So I'm really excited for your future in that exhibition. I'm excited to be here for like the beginning of that, because you'd probably be the only person I'd go to church to listen to at this point.
I appreciate that, brother. Well, man, this has been a blast. I love you, and I love everything that you stand for, and I appreciate you making time to come be here. I'm excited for what is to come, and I'm excited that good people like you, or because look, part of what Shop and I were talking about, I was asked a question by, I forget, Timbo or somebody, about like, who do you think they're listening to? I was like, I don't know, not me. I don't have a voice there. So to know that people like you do have a voice there gives me very high hopes for the future of the game, the franchise that we all love, and also just like franchises in general, CFMs. Also love the Madden is on the game, in the game, his pictures there, like the old graphics, the old retro graphics, like the best intro of any Madden ever.
Yeah, I love it. It is a lot of cool seeing John Madden back on thing. And to be honest with you, hey, I don't know how much they really listen to any. I don't know. Here's the thing that I'll give the devs, right? Because they'd listen. Like even when you just go on Twitter and you message guys like, well, Swami used to be a developer, right? But even like Equipment Guru, a lot of these guys, they interact with the community. They want to do the things that you want them to do. But everybody's got bosses, you know, and you have to go to work and you have to do the things that your bosses say. And if your bosses are saying, hey, this is what we're going to be working on today, those are the things that you got to be working on. So as much as you want to do the things you want to do, it is still a job that you have to show up to and do the things that are required of you.
And I've never understood this idea of like, I'm going to be angry and rant and rave and get blocked on Twitter, and I somehow think that's going to be what gets me to be listened to. It's like that that's the opposite way to get listened to.
Yeah, nobody wants to get DMs from people or messages from people all day long going, oh, this game's trash, this game's trash. Like these guys are playing the game too.
Yeah.
Like I promise you guys like Swami are in leagues playing games. I promise you. Right? Like they see the same exact things we all do. They want it to work well. They don't see glitches and go, I'm so glad I put that in the game this year. Like
100%. Like no one wakes up going,
everybody's
"Hey,
gonna love that
I'm gonna
glitch."
go to work and be the most trash I can and create a worst game that I can so that everybody hates it." Like who thinks that way? Like I just
Right.
never understood that concept. What's up, Maniac?
Right. So it's just one of those things that it is what it is, you know. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think they listen to me more than they listen to anybody else. I just the way if anybody wants to know, like, hey Mo, how do I start getting in good with EA where these guys start looking at my messages and taking me serious? What I would do is I would continue to message these guys. I would be passionate with what you believe in. I would state the things very emphatically that you want to see, but I would also be compassionate with what they're dealing with as well.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be yelled at. Nobody wants to be talked down to, but people like to be a team and they like to work together. And if you can get that kind of feeling out and the vibes that you kind of message these guys with, I'm telling you, they're going to message you back and they're going to engage with you in a way that you're going to want to engage. It doesn't mean you're going to get your way, but at least you get to walk away from the conversation feeling like you've been hurt. And that's just not something special with me, but it's led me to some really cool places. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is what it is, man.
I look, just the concept of messaging these guys is mind blowing to me. I was like, I've never, A, that's just never entered my mind, but B, it's like it takes some real cojones to message somebody all angrily and expecting some type of positive response. I do love, for what it's worth, and I'm sure they've heard it already, but I do love the idea of them responding, like giving the list of things that floated to the top from the beta and like actually communicating, hey, we've seen this is what we're thinking, or this is what we changed, or this is why we didn't touch it. Like that kind of open communication I thought was superb, and something that I hope that they can continue. What's up, Pootie T? Mo, I love you, brother, and I think the world of you, and I'd love to find ways as your schedule starts to hit some kind of norm to do some more things with you. Maybe it's a halfway through the cycle, get you to come be a part of Press Pass Live and just tell me what you're thinking, what you're seeing, how your leagues are going. I just think the world of you, man, and I appreciate all the time that you've had to come see me. I'm sorry you couldn't see me tonight because OBS takes my camera. So if I give this program that we're using right now my camera, then OBS is like, I don't like that. You can't both have the camera. So thanks for hanging in there even without being able to see my ugly mug.
Ha, that's where you're wrong, bro. I have you on mute and I have the YouTube up. So
there you go. Trey did too. Trey, you're not supposed to be watching the gameplay, Trey. Watching all my games. That's why he whooped me. That's at least what I'm going to tell my mom. Well, brother, I love you. Thank you for giving me some time tonight and hanging out with me and making this. You say that. I know that's not true because life won't let it. But I promise that we will find another way to get you to come do that.
Yeah, no, man. Anytime that I can fit hanging out with you in my schedule, it makes my day better. So I'm always on board.
Oh, man, I appreciate you. Happy Madden 23. Let's stay in touch. I want to hear how your leagues are going.
For sure.
I want to hear how things are going for you. And tell your boys to at least look at my application. I mean, I figured I've been doing this for 22 years. I got to at least get the application looked at.
I got you. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna start messaging people. We'll see what we can do.
All right, Mo. Mo, I love you. Have a great one, my man. Congratulations on the new job. Praying for nothing but opportunities and favor. And I appreciate everything you do, man.
Have a good night, my friend.
Later, my buddy. There you have it, my friends. Mo Tradamus. That dude is just an amazing human being. And it is an honor to be with other amazing human beings in this community. And what a way. We're not over. We still got one more day, but tomorrow we've got no guests. It's just me. You just get to hang out with me. Hopefully some friends are around. And I can focus and maybe give a better. Trey was toying me, like playing with your food. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in the chat either. Yes, Trey. Get you to come hang out. Maybe Pootie T will come play some more. And but tomorrow we'll give away. I think we gave away 2 Maddens already. We've given away 2 T-shirts already. So tomorrow we'll give away another t-shirt. That's like almost $40 a pop. So there you go. And we'll give away 2 gift cards. We'll give away 2 $15 gift cards. Or who knows? I may mix it up a little bit and go buy one of those things that Pootie T posted, a little PlayStation network, whatever they're calling those things now, and give that away. I got to figure out what to do about Xbox, because if my Canadian friends win, I'm probably just going to PayPal you the money and just be like, yo, go buy your own card or whatever it is that you need. Yeah, I can't wait to do that. So what time is it? Oh, it's already 11:11. So I guess my buddies are finished playing. Pootie, are you staying up? If you're off tomorrow, maybe me and Pootie can go play some Apex or something before I call it a night. Yeah, Maniac, I told Mo, like, the idea that I'm going to send a dev a Twitter DM, when I sent my DMs, I'm not going to call names. When I sent a few DMs to a few really big streamers out there that do Madden content, I started the DM off with like, I fully expect this not to get read or responded to. I get it. If you respond, thank you. Awesome. If you don't, I totally understand why. So the idea that guys DM Madden devs, that's mind-blowing to me. I don't understand that concept at all. Let me lower this down just a hair. I hope you guys like the new transition. I wanted to do something new with transitions. And so that one's a fade because it goes camera to camera. But that little transition to me is kind of cool. So just wanted to do something new. I've got some other ideas that I'm working on. About to update the YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, like profile art. I'm working on that right now. As soon as I get some more pictures and stuff, I've got some ideas around there. I'm going to making a few more updates to kind of what you're watching right here. Just some little minor tweaks, because I think the best streams are the cleanest, simplest streams. I usually try not to do too much crazy stuff. Still do some fun stuff. Man, thank you again to my guy Mo for coming to hang out with me. Thank you to all the guests, Pootie T, Andy, who I can't say enough of. I don't know if people know Andy or watch Andy. Like, I didn't know Andy until recently. Big fan of that dude. Timbo, I just don't get to talk to Mo and Timbo, Expert, Shop. Like, these are just like, thank you to all those dudes. I just don't get to talk to them enough, and I need to do a better job about doing that. So I'm ready to keep on doing this. So I appreciate that. It's not 4K, which drives me insane. It's 2K, which I'm fine with. But me, this ugly mug right here, I didn't even fix my hair. I was just like, because if I fix my hair, it's got product in it, then I go to bed with product in my hair. It's just a whole thing. I don't like to do that. So I was like, not tonight, and I need a haircut. But this is actually 1080p, stretched to 2K. But the gameplay, this stuff here, that's actually 2K. That's 1440p. But my camera doesn't do 4K 60. Because if it did 4K 60, I would downscale it to 2K 60, which is perfect. My camera doesn't do 4K 60, it does 4K 30 or 1080p 60. And because since I want the 60, I got to keep it at 1080p, which kind of sucks. So one day, not anytime soon, but one day I'm going to get me a 4K 60 camera, and we're gonna make it look cool. And now Pootie T sees the monitor I really want. I doubt I'll ever get that monitor. I will probably maybe one day have it, but it's hard monitor to get because it's so massive. It's like, where do you put your camera? Can't put your camera at the top of it. Your camera would be freaking 18 miles in the air. Can't put it on the side of it because it's 55 inches. This monitor here, which is a 43 ultra wide, I love it. It's a 1440p ultra wide, 48 inches wide. It's a little tall for my camera. I miss having the camera kind of more straight on. But anyway, now I'm rambling. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central. We're going to start streaming. We'll get Pootie T in here. We'll get Trey in here. We'll see who else is around just to play games, just to talk shop, just talk Madden, do some giveaways. We'll give away Xbox, PlayStation, like card and a t-shirt. It'll be a ton of fun. I cannot wait. Yeah. I did, Maniac. I sent it to Pooty. I posted it in the chat. I'm slobbering from the mouth, but this thing, I'm embarrassed about how much I paid for the one that's in front of me, which I paid a lot. My wife let me talk her into it some way, somehow, and I'll be paying on it the next 2 years. It's double the price of what I paid for this thing in front of me, but it's gorgeous. It's a piece of art. Even my monitor, like this thing it's the 1000R curve, super ultra wide Samsung, and I love it. It's a pretty cool monitor. It's not having fun with either the 1440 beta for PlayStation right now or my new capture card. I haven't figured that out, but I can't do side by side ever since I went to the beta. So I think it's a beta issue. So hopefully they figure that out, and I can do side by side. So right now I currently just have my monitor on Madden, and then I got my computer down here, down there, that I'm looking at y'all at. And so I'm reading my chat, OBS, checking all that down there. Then my monitor has it. But one day, what I was doing pre-beta and pre-capture card upgrade is I just had side by side. So I had PlayStation on one side, OBS and chat and everything on the other, which is why I wanted the dual monitor, this big monitor. Also, it helps me with my video editing because I can see everything like right here. It's a pretty awesome monitor. I love it. So enough of me. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. What has happened? What's happening here? See if we can bring this back up. I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm probably gonna play one game with Pooty T before I call it a night, since I do got to get up at normal time tomorrow. Oh, there we go. It's working the way it's supposed to now. So thanks for hanging out with me. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed here. We're going to be doing my Saints CFM franchise throughout the year. We also do a lot of PUBG here, trying to do more news. There's PUBG news, Call of Duty news, 2K news, NCAA news. Once the new NCAA game drops next year, we're going to be doing some cross content between NCAA League and also the LMFL franchise. So make sure you come hang out with us. I love you guys. Have a good one. We'll see you.
Smash that like and subscribe.